We are on With Various Devotees, and we're on page 655. We're starting a new day, November 9th, 1884. Sri Ramakrishna was in his room, seated on the small couch and facing the east. The devotees were sitting on the floor. It was about midday when M arrived and took a seat after saluting the master. Gradually, other devotees began to gather. Vijay Krishna Goswami was there with several Brahmo devotees. The priest, Ram Chakravarti, was also present. Mahimacharan, Narayan, and Kishori arrived a few minutes later. It was the beginning of winter. Sri Ramakrishna had felt the need of some shirts and had asked M to bring them. Besides 2 broadcloth shirts, M had brought another of a heavier material for which Ramakrishna had not asked. Master to M, you had better take that one back with you. You can use it yourself. There's nothing wrong in that. Tell me, what kind of shirt did I ask you to bring? M, sir, you told me to get you plain ones. You didn't ask me to buy the heavier one. Master, then please take that one back. To Vijay and the others, you see, Dwarika Babu gave me a shawl. The Marwari devotees also brought one for me. I couldn't accept. Vijay interrupted the master, saying, that is right, sir. If a man needs a thing, he must accept it, and there must be a man to give it. Who but a man will give? Master, the Lord himself. The giver is the Lord himself. The mother-in-law said to her daughter-in-law, my child, I see that everybody has someone to render him a little personal service. It would be so nice if you could find someone to massage your feet. The daughter-in-law said, Mother, God himself will massage my feet. I don't need anyone else. She spoke thus because she was a sincere lover of God. Once, a fakir went to the Emperor Akbar to ask for money. The emperor was saying his prayers. He prayed, O Lord, give me money, give me wealth. The fakir started to leave the palace, but the emperor motioned to him to wait. After finishing his prayers, Akbar came to the holy man and said, why were you going away? The fakir replied, you yourself were begging for money and wealth, so I thought that if I must beg, I would beg of God and not of a beggar. Vijay, I saw a sadhu at Goya. He did not take the initiative in anything. One day he wanted to feed some devotees. Suddenly we found that butter, flour, fruits, and other foodstuff had arrived from no one knew where. Master to Vijay and the others, there are 3 classes of sadhus, good, mediocre, and bad. The good sadhu makes no effort to get his food. The Dundis, among others, belong to the mediocre and bad classes. To get food, the mediocre sadhus will knock at the door of a house and say, Namo Narayana, salutations to God. The bad sadhu starts a quarrel if he doesn't get his alms. The good sadhu behaves like a python. He sits in one place and the food comes to him. The python doesn't move from where it is. A young sadhu who had been a brahmachari from his boyhood went to beg. A young girl offered him alms. The sadhu saw her breasts and thought she had abscesses. He asked about them. The elderly women of the family explained that she would someday be a mother, and that God had given her breasts to give milk to her children. God had provided for all this beforehand. At these words, the sadhu was struck with wonder. He said, then I don't need to beg. God must have provided for me too. Some of the devotees thought that in that case they should not take any initiative either. Master, but those who think that an effort is needed must make the effort. Vijoy, there's a nice story about that in the Bhaktamala. Master, tell it to us. Vijoy, please tell us yourself. Master, no, you tell it. I don't remember it very well. One should hear these things at the beginning. That is why I listened to them years ago. But now I'm no longer in that mood. Hanuman said, I don't know the position of the stars or the phase of the moon. I only think of Rama. The chatak bird craves only rainwater. Even when it is dying of thirst, it turns its beak upward and wants only water from the sky. The Ganga, the Jamuna, and the 7 oceans are filled to the brim, but still it will not touch the water of the earth. Rama and Lakshmana visited Pampa Lake. Lakshmana saw a crow very eager for water. Again and again it went to the edge of the water but would not drink. Lakshmana asked Rama about it. Brother, this crow is parched with thirst. This crow is a great devotee of God. Day and night it repeats the name of Rama. Its throat is parched with thirst, but still it won't drink, for fear of missing a repetition of Rama's name. On a full moon night, I said to Haladhari, Brother, is it the night of the new moon? All laughed. Smiling, yes, it was true. Once I was told that a characteristic of a man of perfect knowledge is that he cannot distinguish between the full moon and the new moon. But how could one convince Haladhari of that? He said, this is certainly the dark Kali Yuga. He cannot distinguish the full moon from the new moon, and people respect him. Mahimacharan entered the room. Master, respectfully, come in, sir, please take a seat. To Vijoy and the other devotees, in the ecstatic state of mind, I cannot remember a date. The other day there was a religious festival at Benipal's garden. I forgot the date. I can no longer remember the last day of the month, when it is very auspicious to repeat the name of God. Sri Ramakrishna remained thoughtful for a few minutes. Master, but I remember if a man makes an engagement to visit me. A man attains this state when his mind is 100% absorbed in God. When Hanuman returned from Ceylon, Rama said to him, You have seen Sita. Tell me, how did you find her? Hanuman said, O Rama, I saw that only the body of Sita lay there. It held neither her mind nor her soul. She has indeed consecrated her mind and soul to your lotus feet. Therefore, I saw only her body in Ceylon. Further, I saw the king of death prowling about. But what could he do? It was only a body. It had neither mind nor soul. If you meditate on an ideal, you will acquire its nature. If you think of God day and night, you will acquire the nature of God. A salt doll went into the ocean to measure its depth. It became one with the ocean. What is the goal of books or scriptures? The attainment of God. A man opened a book belonging to a sadhu. He saw the word Rama written on every page. There was nothing else. If a man loves God, even the slightest thing kindles spiritual feeling in him. Then repeating the name of Rama but once, he gets the fruit of 10 million sandhyas. At the sight of a cloud, the peacock's emotion is awakened. He dances, spreading his tail. Radha had the same experience. Just the sight of a cloud recalled Krishna to her mind. Chaitanya Dev was passing a village. He heard that drums were made from the earth of that place. At once he was overwhelmed with ecstasy because drums are used in kirtan. But who can have this spiritual awakening? Only he who has renounced his attachment to worldly things. If the sap of attachment is totally dried up in a man, the slightest suggestion kindles his spiritual emotion. Though you strike a wet match 1,000 times, it will not produce a spark. But if it is dried, the slightest rubbing will set it aflame. Pain and pleasure are inevitable in a body. He who has realized God dedicates his mind and life, his body and soul, to God. When Rama and Lakshmana went to take their bath in Pampa Lake, they thrust their bows into the ground. Coming out of the water, Lakshmana took his bow and found its tip stained with blood. Rama said to him, "Look, brother, look. Perhaps we have hurt some creature." Lakshmana dug in the earth and found a big bullfrog. It was dying. Rama said to the frog in a sorrowful voice, "Why didn't you croak? We should have tried to save you. You croak lustily enough when you are in the jaws of a snake." The frog said, "O Lord, when I am attacked by a snake, I croak, saying, 'O Rama, save me, O Rama, save me.' This time I found that it was Rama who was killing me, so I kept still." Sri Ramakrishna remained silent a few moments, watching the devotees. He had heard that Mahimacharya did not believe in following a guru. He began the conversation again. "Master, a man should have faith in the words of his guru. He doesn't have to look into his guru's character. Though my guru visits the grog shop, still, he is the embodiment of eternal bliss." A man who used to give recitals of the Chandi and the Bhagavata once said, "A broomstick is itself unclean, but it cleans dirty places." Mahimacharya studied the Vedanta. His aim was to attain Brahmagyana. He followed the path of knowledge and was always reasoning. Master to Mahima. The aim of the jnani is to know the nature of his own self. This is knowledge. This is liberation. The true nature of the self is that it is the Supreme Brahman. I and the Supreme Brahman are one. But this knowledge is hidden on account of Maya. I said to Harish, "This is the whole thing. The gold is hidden under a few basketfuls of earth, and you must remove the earth." The bhaktas retain I consciousness. The jnanis do not. Nakta used to teach how to establish oneself in the true self, saying, "Merge the mind in the buddhi, and the buddhi in the Atman. Then you will be established in your true self." But the I persists. It cannot be gotten rid of. Imagine a limitless expanse of water. Above and below, before and behind, right and left, everywhere, there is water. In that water is placed a jar filled with water. There is water inside the jar and water outside the jar, but the jar is still there. The I is the jar. Even after attaining knowledge, the jnani keeps his body as before. But the fire of knowledge burns away his lust and other passions. Many days ago, during an electric storm, a thunderbolt struck the Kali temple. We saw that no injury had been done to the doors. Only the points of the screws were broken. The doors are the body and the passions. Lust and so forth are the screws. The jnani loves to talk only about God. He feels pained if one talks about worldly things. But a worldly man belongs to a different class. He always has the turban of ignorance on his head. He always comes back to worldly topics. The Vedas speak of the 7 planes of mind. When the jnani's mind ascends to the 5th plane, he cannot listen to anything or talk of anything but God. At this stage, only words of wisdom come from his lips. The Vedas speak of Satchidananda Brahman. Brahman is neither 1 nor 2. It is between 1 and 2. It cannot be described either as existence or as non-existence. It is between existence and non-existence. When the devotee develops raga bhakti, passionate love of God, he realizes him. But one loses vaidhi bhakti, formal devotion, as easily as one gains it. This is formal devotion. So much japa, so much meditation, so much sacrifice and homa, so many articles of worship, and the recitation of so many mantras before the deity. Such devotion comes in a moment and goes in a moment. Many people say, "Well, friend, we have lived on Havishaya for so many days. How many times we have worshipped the deity at your home, and what have we achieved?" But there's no falling away from raga bhakti. And who gets this passionate love of God? Those who have performed many meritorious deeds in their past births, or those who are eternally perfect. Think of a dilapidated house, for instance. While clearing away the undergrowth and rubbish, one suddenly discovers a fountain fitted with a pipe. It has been covered with earth and bricks, but as soon as they are removed, the water shoots up. Those who have passionate love for God do not say any such thing as, "Oh, brother, how strict I have been about food, but what have I achieved?" New farmers give up cultivating if their fields do not yield any crops. But hereditary farmers will continue to cultivate their fields whether they get a crop or not. Their fathers and grandfathers were farmers. They know they too must accept farming as their means of livelihood. Only those who have developed raga bhakti for God may be called his sincere devotees. God becomes responsible for them. If you enter your name in a hospital register, the doctor will not discharge you until you're cured. Those who are held by God have nothing to fear. The son who holds to his father while walking on the narrow ridge of a paddy field may slip if he absent-mindedly lets go of his father's hand. But if the father holds the son by the hand, there is no such danger. Is there anything that is impossible for faith? And a true devotee has faith in everything. The formless reality, God with form, Rama, Krishna, and the Divine Mother. Once while going to Kamarpukur, I was overtaken by a storm. I was in the middle of a great big meadow. The place was haunted by robbers. I began to repeat the names of all the deities, Rama, Krishna, and Bhagavati. I also repeated the name of Hanuman. I chanted the names of them all. What does that mean? Let me tell you. While the servant is counting out the money to purchase supplies, he said, "These pennies are for potatoes, these for eggplants, these for fish." He counts the money separately. But after the list is completed, he puts all the coins together. When one develops love of God, one likes to talk only of God. If you love a person, you love to talk and hear about him. A worldly person's mouth waters while he talks about his son. If someone praises his son, he will at once say to the boy, "Go and get water for your uncle to wash his feet." Those who love pigeons are highly pleased if you praise pigeons before them. But if you speak ill of pigeons, they will at once exclaim, "Has anyone in your line for 14 generations ever raised pigeons? Sri Ramakrishna now addressed Mahimacharan, who was a householder. Master, what need is there of renouncing the world altogether? It is enough if you can rid yourself of attachment, but you must have sadhana. You have to fight the sense organs. It is a great advantage to fight from inside a fort. You get much help from the fort. The world is the place for enjoyment. After enjoying different things, you should give them up one by one. Once I had a desire to put a gold chain around my waist. I obtained one at last and put it on, but I had to take it off immediately. Once I ate some onion. While eating it, I discriminated, oh mind, this is onion. Then I moved it to different places in my mouth, and at last spat it out. There's a footnote there. It's considered rajasic food and not conducive to spiritual life. A musician was expected. He was to sing with his party. Sri Ramakrishna asked the devotees every now and then, where is the musician? Mahima, we are quite all right as we are. No, sir, you get this all through the year. A devotee outside the room said, the musician has come. Sri Ramakrishna was filled with joy and said, has he? Mats were spread on the floor of the long veranda northeast of the master's room. Sri Ramakrishna said, sprinkle a little Ganges water on the mats. Many worldly people have sat on them. The ladies of Pyari Babu's family from Bali had come to visit the temples. They wanted to listen to the kirtan. A devotee said to Sri Ramakrishna, these ladies have been inquiring whether there would be any place in the room for them. Can they have seats? The kirtan had already begun. The master said, no, where is any room here? Narayan arrived and saluted Sri Ramakrishna. The latter said tenderly, why have you come? Your people at home have beaten you so much. He signed to Barabaram to give Narayan something to eat. Narayan entered the master's room. Suddenly, Sri Ramakrishna followed him. He wanted to feed Narayan with his own hands. Afterwards, he returned to the veranda. Many devotees were present, including Vijay, Mahimacharan, Narayan, M., and the younger Gopal. Soon Narayan came back to the veranda and took his seat by the master. About 3 o'clock, Adhar arrived. At the sight of him, Sri Ramakrishna appeared excited. The devotees saluted the master and sat on the floor. Sri Ramakrishna beckoned to him to come nearer. When the music was over, the gathering of devotees broke up. Some began to stroll in the garden, and some went to the temples to watch the evening service. In the evening, arrangements were made for kirtan inside the master's room. Sri Ramakrishna eagerly asked a devotee to have an extra lamp. The 2 lamps lit the room brightly. Sri Ramakrishna said to Vijay, why are you sitting there? Come nearer to me. This time, the kirtan created an intense atmosphere. The master danced in an ecstasy of joy. The devotees also danced encircling him. While Vijay was dancing, his cloth dropped. He was unconscious. When the music was over, Vijay began to look for his key, which had fallen somewhere. The master said to him with a laugh, why bother about it anymore? He meant that Vijay should have nothing more to do with boxes and keys. Kishori saluted Sri Ramakrishna and was about to take his leave. The master blessed him, touching his chest tenderly, and bade him goodbye. His words were full of love. M. and Gopal saluted the master. They too were about to take their leave. He said to them with the same affection, couldn't you go tomorrow morning? You may catch cold at night. M. and Gopal decided to spend the night with Sri Ramakrishna. They sat on the floor with a few other devotees. Ramakrishna had had no rest the whole day. The devotees had been with him all the time. He went out for a few minutes. Returning to the room, he saw M taking down a song from Ramlal. "Master, what are you doing?" M said that he was writing down a song. On being told what the song was, the master remarked that it was a rather long song. M wrote a line or two and then stopped writing. A little later, Sri Ramakrishna took his supper of farina pudding and 1 or 2 luchis. A lighted lamp stood on a stand by his side. M sat near him. The master asked if there were any sweets in the room. M had brought some sundash which he had put on the shelf. Sri Ramakrishna asked M to give him a sweet. M searched for the sweets but could not find them. He was embarrassed. They had been given to the devotees. After finishing his supper, Sri Ramakrishna sat on the small couch, and M seated himself on the foot rug. The master, talking about Narayan, was overcome with emotion. "Master, I saw Narayan today." M: "Yes, sir." His eyes were moist. When I looked at his face, I felt like weeping. Master, the sight of him arouses a mother's love in me. As it were, his relatives beat him at home because he comes here. There is none to defend him. M: "The other day he left his books at Haripada's house and fled to you. Master, it is not good for him to do that." Sri Ramakrishna was silent. After a few minutes, he continued, "Master, you see he has much substance in him. Otherwise, how could I be attached to him even though I was listening to the kirtan at the time? I had to leave the music and go into the room. That never happened before." Again, Sri Ramakrishna fell silent. A few minutes later, he began to talk. "Master, in an ecstatic state, I asked him how he was feeling. He just said he was happy. To him, feed him now and then, as parents do their child." Sri Ramakrishna then spoke about Tej Chandra. "Master, to him, please ask him what he thinks of me. Does he think of me as a jnani? Or what does he say about me? I understand that he is very reticent." To Gopal, "Ask Tej Chandra to come here Saturdays and Tuesdays." To M: "Suppose I go to your school and look for..." M thought that Sri Ramakrishna wanted to go to school to see Narayan. He said to the master, "You might as well wait at our house." Master: "No, I have something else in mind. I should like to see whether there are other worthwhile boys in the school." And of course you can go. Other visitors come to the school. You can come too. Sri Ramakrishna was smoking. M and Gopal finished their supper. They decided to sleep in the Nahabat. M again sat on the floor near Sri Ramakrishna. Master, to M: "There may be some pots and pans in the Nahabat. Why not sleep here in this room?" M: "Very well, sir." And we will stop there today. Any questions or comments about what we read today? Nope. Okay. Now, let me see where the announcements are. Oops, took off my glasses. Now I can't read them. Okay. Tomorrow's lecture by one of the vice presidents of the Ramakrishna Mountain Mission in India, Calcutta, is going to be on Sri Sarada Devi, Mother of All. Now, this is Swami Divyananda's first visit to the United States, I believe. So we will be very happy to have him here with us. On Wednesday, we will continue with Swami Ramakrishna Nanda apostle to the south. And on Saturday the 7th, any of you that can get to Trabuco, please do. They're having the celebration of the 75th anniversary of the monastery. And they're hoping to have a grand affair with Swami Divyananda there also. Now, if any of you can't make it to Trabuco, please come to Karma Yoga Day up here at the temple, because we would certainly appreciate having you all here to help us with our we've let a few things slide, and a few things have dried up, so we need various and sundry jobs. It won't all be outdoor work, it won't all be indoor work, it'll be a variety of jobs. Come at 9:15, and we'll assign people work or see what you would like to do, and then have lunch with us at 1. So that is Karma Yoga Day on Saturday the 7th, if you're not attending the monastery 75th. And we will have our gospel reading at 5 o'clock on Karma Yoga Day. Everyone's welcome to all of the things. Okay? Right, no comments, no questions. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Panamastu. Stay healthy, stay cool if you can. I hear it's going to get hot again. So we shall see you next week, or later this week.